HG Canine uses food as a primary reinforcer or a reward for the dogs in our training program. So it's important that the dogs we are training have a value for food. Oftentimes we'll get clients that let us know that their dog has a low food drive. What is food drive? Essentially, it's how much work or effort your dog is willing to put forth to earn their food, all right? Or how much we're able to manipulate them with food that they are trying to earn. That's a good way of kind of gauging your dog's food drive. Now, every dog has food drive, okay? They need food to survive. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They all have food drive. What they're really lacking in is their value for the food. This can be caused by multiple reasons, but usually it's because of something we, the owner, are doing, not the dog themselves. So usually when there's a dog that has a lack in value for their food, it's because the owner is free feeding. What that means is they take their dog's food and they just throw it in the food bowl and they put it on the ground, and this food bowl always has food available for their dog. Okay, so no matter what time of day their dog walks by it, there's always food. A less extreme version of that is putting the dog's allotted breakfast or dinner down and leaving it there until the dog is done eating their food, rather than setting it down for, say, 15 minutes and then whatever the dog hasn't eaten, you remove the bowl. When we don't give the dog an understanding that that food is not always going to be readily available, the dog is going to assume that there is always food readily available. This is going to decrease the value of food in their mind and decrease the amount of work they're willing to put in for their food. So how do we increase the value they hold for their food, the work they'll put in for their food? At HG Canine, every single client, whether your dog has a low motivation for food or not, every single one of our clients, we put them on an existential training schedule. So instead of feeding breakfast during breakfast and dinner during dinner, we take all of their allotted food allowance and we put it in a treat bag, and we use their food during training sessions as a reward, okay? Now, there's a way to build the food drive in order to get to the point where we can actually use their food during training, right? To lure them around, to manipulate their behavior, what have you, to use it as a reward. The method we use to build this value of food is hand feeding. So instead of taking your dog's food and putting it in a bowl and putting it on the ground and letting them have their way with it, they are going to have to eat out of our hand, okay? So hand feeding is super simple. You're just going to take a treat bag, and you're not going to take the dog's entire daily food allowance. You're only going to take the amount for one meal. So let's say your dog eats a total of 4 cups per day. We're going to take 2 cups in the morning, and you're going to put it in your treat pouch. You're going to hand feed your dog, and every single time your dog checks out and gets distracted and goes sniffing the ground, you're going to take your treat pouch off and you're going to put it away until the next meal. The next meal is going to be at dinner time, okay? So when dinner time rolls around, whatever has not been finished from the breakfast portion, you are going to add the dinner portion. So, however much food is left in here from breakfast, you'll take the remaining 2 cups of the dog's daily allowance and you'll add it to the treat bag. During dinner time, the dog will have another chance to stay engaged and pay attention to the food, but if they check out again, that food goes away, okay? Start fresh the next morning with the dog's original daily amount of food. Shylow, free. Hi, baby. Good girl. All right, we're going to use Shylow and give you a real quick example of what hand feeding looks like. I'll change the angle so you can see how attentive she is. So as long as your dog is paying attention, you continue to pay. Just wait for him to chew and swallow. Don't wait too much longer. Have the next one ready and pay. If you go too long in between presentations of food, that's going to encourage them to check out and start doing something else. We don't want to set them up for failure, so make sure that at first you're not leaving too many gaps in between payments, so that way they can stay engaged easier and earn their food. Now, if Shylow was to drop a little bit of food out of her mouth and then sniff the ground trying to get it, I don't mind that. That's completely okay. That's normal. I'm not going to stop feeding her just because of that. Now, if she was to start sniffing the ground and wander around, that's it. Okay, I'm going to take that food off and I'm going to put it up and wait until the next meal. A very important part of this that I really want to drive home to you is that if your dog fails to earn all of their food in one meal and you need to take the treat pouch and put it up, don't feel bad a couple hours later and give them another chance. Wait until the next meal, approximately 12 hours later, and then try it again. We do not want our dogs to know that we are going to do it again right away if they fail. That will slow down the process of them understanding that when the window of opportunity opens to get food, they better pay attention. Shylow loves this. To her, this is a free payday. She's done this 100 times. You'll notice that if I don't pay her, she'll sit here and stare at me because we've done this for a long time. We don't have to do this hand feeding anymore. We got through this in a couple of days. It usually only takes about 2 or 3 days until your dog has a true understanding that when that window of opportunity opens, I better pay attention so I can earn some food.